live in an urban community?
Yes.
Do you live in an urban community?
No.
Do you live in an urban community? So which neighborhood do you live in?
I live off the island on the South Shore.
So which neighborhood do you live in?
In Dorval.
So which neighborhood is it? So on a scale of 1 to 10, how well do you know your neighbors? 1, like not at all, or 10, very close?
21.
I'd say a 7, 8.
How well do you know your neighbors?
Not much. Well, I know a couple of my neighbors, but like,
On a scale of 1 to 10?
give me like a 4.
So how well do you know your neighbors on a scale of 1 to 10?
0.
Yeah. So do you feel safe in your neighborhood?
Yes.
Feel safe in your neighborhood? Or
Not really.
do you feel safe in your neighborhood?
Absolutely, for sure.
So do you think that knowing or not knowing your neighbors contributes to your feeling of safety in the neighborhood?
I think it would.
I think it would help.
I think it would help.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So does knowing your neighbors contribute to the feeling of safety in your neighborhood?
Yes.
Oh, so do you think that you knowing your neighbors very well contributes to your feeling of safety?
Yeah.
Do you think the fact that you know your neighbors contributes to your feeling of safety?
Not necessarily.
Oh, well, your neighbors very well contributes to your feeling of safety?
I think so, yeah. If there's someone who lives next door and we don't know, it's kind of like, you know...
There's more trust in between, more trust, more cohesion.
Yes, absolutely.
In our survey, we found that 79% of the participants live in an urban area, and when asked how well they know their neighbors, on a scale from 1 to 10, the average response was 5.2. There was a wide range of participants, some saying they knew none or very little of their neighbors, and others said they knew them very well. Although many participants feel that they don't know their neighbors very well, 96% of the participants said that they feel safe in their neighborhood. 68% of the participants think that knowing your neighbors creates a greater feeling of safety.
According to Lewis Wirth, a city may be defined as a relatively large, dense, and permanent settlement of socially heterogeneous individuals. It is believed that the size of the cities is reciprocal to the crime rate in the cities, and is one of the main reasons why people leave and go to the suburbs. Geog 2014 postulates that large population concentrations have more dramatic events and smaller settlements.
Within Urbanism as a Way of Life by Lewis Wirth, he states that the increase in the number of inhabitants of a community beyond a few hundred is bound to limit the possibility of each member of the community knowing all the others personally. He also relates this to Max Weber's claim that high density within neighborhoods reduces the amount of personal relationships among inhabitants. Our research displays that contact between neighbors is truly limited within urban areas. It showed that relationships between neighbors in cities are often superficial and impersonal. Our study also shows that many people leave cities looking for these communal relationships. Baldazar and Fisher, in their study, Suburban Life, Powerlessness and Need for Affiliation, quoted researchers who claim that urbanites moved to suburban areas in order to escape the city life and find a sense of familiarity and sense of community. Lewis Wirth's article suggests that, among other things, crime is more prevalent in the urban than in rural community. Rasa and Hopp, in their study, Age and Sex-Related Differences in Threat Perception in a Modern Urban Society, highlights that a lot of men and women feel threatened in urban areas. Men are mostly afraid of the potential threat of having their homes invaded or being openly attacked in public places. They noted that women feel threatened by the potential of assault outside of their home, which includes physical and sexual assaults against them and their children. On the contrary, our study disclosed that most people feel relatively safe in their neighborhoods and have little to no fear in their public areas, regardless of whether they know their neighbors or not.
We observed as a group that the urban life would result in a decrease of human contact and ties of kinship. As a group, just like Wirth discovered in 1938, we observed that the increase in urban density and urbanization would result in the transfer of industrial, educational, and security activities to specialized institutions. As a result, we see that to govern urban areas, there is a requirement of policing rather than traditional, informal ties to keep the youth out of trouble. Wirth stated that the families in the cities get smaller as mothers are employed, and as a result, there is less family kinship. The rise in highly specialized institutions has increased this sense of insecurity and victimization. This also reflects the wider contrast found between individuals in the urban world. Due to the contrast, the urban population tends to segregate itself with people of common interest and social indifference and organizational framework. It is believed that personal disorganization, crime, mental breakdown, suicide, and delinquency might be expected from these conditions. As a result, there is a problem of policing in the crime in this society.
As a group, our research concluded that within urban communities, neighbors develop impersonal relationships resulting in a false sense of security. Scale is an important aspect to analyze when discussing our evidence. We took the micro and macro scales of neighborhoods into account and how this may have influenced our conclusion. The closest proximity, a next-door neighbor, differs when considering urban and suburban life. Within a city, apartment buildings seemingly act as a division of day-to-day social life, thus affecting the general sense of safety. While conducting our survey, it became evident that although neighbors may not be familiar with each other, urban life provides a sense of security on its own. All of our examples agreed that they felt safe within public areas of the city, even though they did not know their neighbors. This is interesting to consider when comparing our evidence to that of Lewis Wirth's. Wirth's theory presented the idea that urban life discourages the quality of relationships, which we have helped to prove through the process of our survey.